Yay! Woohoo! Bonjour! How are you guys? Sorry for changing the time twice, but here we are at home to do a Q&A because I thought that it would be a good opportunity, you know, taking the anniversary. Today is the 22 years life in Japan. Thank you, Jason. Anniversary. The thing is that I always make it the 24th of July because that's the day I left France. But with the time difference, I actually arrived 22 years ago. I think I was at Narita Airport right now at noon. Hi, Trek. Because we arrived at something like 11:30, I think. So, voilà, 22 years ago, I'm not sure I had experienced the summer heat of Japan yet. If I was still in the building, I hadn't experienced it yet. I didn't know that summers in Japan were so hot and so humid. So usually my cat is playing. Hi Evan, お久しぶりです。I make it the 24th, like the day, but actually I think we can say it's both days. Sorry I had to reschedule yesterday because I had an unplanned work. Hi Jade, I'm good, thank you. This is, you know, like 22 years ago. Most of you, I think, know that I didn't have unexpected jobs because I came to Japan to work for Wakayama. Wakayama is a city located at the south of Osaka. I came to work as, hi Thomas, as... I think this is going to be a tricky live stream because the cats are in a playing mood. I don't know why, but it's a celebration, right, today. So I came to work for the prefectural government of Wakayama Prefecture as a coordinator for international relationships. And I didn't have unexpected jobs because like the hours were something like 5:45 p.m. You know, working 8 hours with a 45 minutes break. I think that was the hours, the official hours were working from 9 to 5:45. Ma-chan, 挨拶するの? Ma-chan, you want to say hello? Hold on a second. Ma-chan. It's weird. You can't see the cat so often. So bonjour. Ohayo. Hi, Nash. I'm the big star too. You can be a star too if you get used to the live streams. I'm Poupou. Voilà, he's a big cat. Tiggy, bonjour. Britta, when you see the live stream on replay. So I thought that we could, because last year, he's a big cat, yes, Caroline. Last year, I think I didn't watch what I did. I put in the community section, you know, the link to the live that I made last year. I think it was in Midtown in a cafe. I think I made the live stream before going to celebrate the 21 years with a friend in a restaurant, Chinese restaurant in Midtown. And I think I told you about, you know, kind of what I had been doing, like work-related stuff in that live stream. I think I probably couldn't finish it after an hour and a half or something like that because I had to go and have dinner. And I said I would, you know, do a round 2, which I probably never did. So I thought that what I could do today is not start from the beginning, because to see that, hey JK, I have explained, I think, what I did the first years in that 21-year anniversary. So today, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to explain, to tell you about what I'm doing these days, like these last years, because I know that some of you aren't really aware. Sometimes I get confused myself, you know, because I do so many things. So I'm going to try and sum it up. And also, I thought it was a good opportunity to do a Q&A, because I've never done a Q&A before. So, voila, that's a good opportunity. Thank you, Janina. You have a cat that looks like Poo-Poo. He must be very handsome. Okay, so what I'm doing, you know that my job is to eat and to drink good stuff. I always say that as a joke, but it's pretty much close to the reality. And I'm very lucky to do what I'm doing, because my passion is really, has always been about eating and then drinking good wines, you know, when I was when I was adult, you know, and I could drink wine. But I remember I have lots of memories of me being really small and super picky about food. I've always loved eating good stuff. And I was always, you know, curious about food, and also I loved cooking. And my grandmother taught me lots of nice recipes. I think I forgot to, I should have brought my book. I have it was in 2010, I published a book with my recipes. It's a simple French cooking, you know, like home cooking in Japanese, because I think that Japanese people, you know, the image they have of what French people do actually eat every day is completely wrong, because they have the image of the food they get at restaurants, and obviously we don't eat every day like we eat at the restaurant. It's really simple but delicious dishes. So I published a book about this in 2010. And I did that because, okay, I can, you know, that's about 10 years, we're in 2000, okay. 10 years ago, I started a cooking corner in the French lessons of the NHK. And before that, from 2006 to 2009, I was doing the French lessons on the NHK. And I was working on my own at the time already in the wine business. Because when I came to Tokyo, I started working in the wine business, as most of you know. Money. That sounds super nice. Thank you. I'm sure this is something lovely that you're writing. And then I started working on my own, because the office, the French office wine office I was working for closed. I worked for importers for a year, and then I started working on my own. And so I started with being the ambassador for Chateau Clinet, which is in Pomerol. Hi, Valencia. And I tried many jobs, and I was lucky enough to find out that they were recruiting to do the French lessons on the NHK, which I was sometimes watching, you know, and thinking, oh my God, I can so do that, you know, this looks fun, and this looks easy, right? And this is how I started working for Japanese television. And then when we were doing the language lessons, this is so nice. Wait, I'm going to finish this explanation first. When I started doing the lessons, at some point I said, hey, we have to create a cooking corner because it's super easy to cook French, to do family cooking with the Japanese ingredients. And this is what I've been promoting, trying to promote since then, because I've realized that Japanese people, they don't really know what we eat every day and, you know, about French people's like daily life. So that's still one of my activities, but at some point, like 10 years ago, I had so many columns in magazines, on the net, and you know, on importers' newsletters. Now I do this less because it takes time writing, and also I would be doing the recipes myself, taking all the pictures, etc., etc. So that's something I'm doing less, but I'm still sometimes, you know, have magazines interviewing me, and I talk about the French culture and how, you know, this art de vivre that we have, the art of living, direct translation, but it's, you know, about how we, you know, how French people are just, how we enjoy life with a little bit of carelessness, I think, which is important to enjoy life, because if we are serious all the time and think about heavy, you know, subjects all the time, we can't have that much fun, right? White, thank you so much. So glad there is a woman representing longevity in Japan. Yes. Am I a rare breed? 20 here. I like the 2222. Thank you so much. That was really a good idea. Thank you so much. This will, I think I will have to drink some nice champagne, right, to celebrate this, which I'm going to do tonight, I think. So thank you very much. So that's still, all of my activity evolves around food and wine, mainly, but also sake sometimes. Arigatou gozaimasu. So the main activity is is wine. I have importers. I do not import myself, because that would require a lot of organization. I would have to employ people on a regular basis, which is something I don't want to do right now. Sometimes, you know, I employ people, but it's, you know, it's like for specific activities, right? But I have around me people I can trust and who are working on their own like me. So I know I can count on them, you know, when I have, for example, if it's an event about cooking, I have people to support me. When it's about interpreting or translating, I have people to support me. When I, you know, because obviously I can't do the whole thing myself. While what I haven't developed yet is the gourmet tours, which I could develop, you know. But I would need people to help me do that when I can't do it. And the thing is that I like, you know, to do the gourmet tours sometimes because it takes me out of my wine and food routine, and I get to meet new people, so it's always super nice. But I think that's something I could do, you know. But that could make it more, let's say, job-like, but I'm not sure I want to do this right now. Because I'm super busy with the wine. So the wine business, July is always a super busy time because we prepare the orders for the end of the year, from autumn to the end of the year. We're almost through it, so it's going to be like, oh, you know, good. I'm going to, it will be more quiet in August, I think. So I have the importers import Bordeaux wines that I pick for them. I had stopped representing other wine areas, because it turns out that, you know, people sometimes they don't even know what I'm doing, because I have so many different business categories, let's say. So I centered my activity on Bordeaux wines because I'm from Bordeaux, right? But I get so many requests from other areas, and there are so many good wines that I'm going to do Champagne again. Have a super nice Toscanian wine too, which I have to find importers for those two new wines, but I'm going to do other areas again, because when it's super good wines, how could I refuse to represent those wineries in Japan, right? So you can find my wines in restaurants. To know which wines are mine, you can see on Instagram, sometimes I put pictures and I say, hey, this is one of my wines, right? But maybe there are more pictures on my Facebook account, and I use Facebook and Instagram differently. On Instagram, I really use it to show, you know, mostly the food. But on Facebook, I put more information about wines, because I'm followed by lots of sommelier and chefs and restaurant-related people. So they are interested in this kind of information, I think. I think that on Instagram, people are more interested in seeing the food, you know, so this is why I talk less about my wines. So if you come to Japan and you'd be interested in drinking Jennifer's selection, check out on Facebook. Sometimes I put pictures of my wines, but also some of my wines you can find in KALDI stores, which I've told you about before. So KALDI, it's called KALDI Coffee Farm, and you've seen information about KALDI before, I think. I will put the link in the description afterwards. She's so cute. She doesn't move. KALDI has some of my Bordeaux wines. It's cheap to, let's say, mid-range wines, super good cost performance. KALDI, they have 400 and something stores in Japan. So if you come to Tokyo, there are, I don't know how many KALDIs in Tokyo, but there is one in Shinjuku, in all the big, you know, stations. So you will find a KALDI. In Shimbashi, there is one. There is really, you know, there are lots of KALDIs. And KALDI, so that leads me to the food part of what I do, of my activity. I'm also a food producer. But before becoming a food producer for KALDI, so at KALDI you can also find my food products. The best seller is a Bordeaux specialty. It's called cannelé. It's a hit in KALDI stores. I introduced it. It's my brand. It's called Série Exquise. I will put information about this too in the... I had to take a memo because sometimes, you know, I tell you so many things, guys, and the live ends and I'm like, oh my God, what did I tell you? Was I supposed to put information about, right? So I said KALDI and the Série Exquise. I created the name. It's the exquisite series, right? I love that word, exquisite. Exquisite is, I think, my favorite word ever. Voilà, because I love exquisite food and drinks. That's why. So I have my brand in KALDI stores. These last 2 years, we've been focusing on sweets. So you can find you can find so the cannelé, madeleines, financiers, small tarts, this kind of stuff. But there are also some soups. I don't know if what they have in stores these days, but if you don't find my products right away, ask for Jennifer's products or Série Exquise. I will put the name. Attends, I can write that. You can imagine, I think, the spelling, but the lessons are starting, guys. Haven't worked on that. I have. Attends, Série Exquise. Voilà. Série Exquise. That's mine. Ask for the Série Exquise in KALDI stores. Okay? And you tell them you love it. So that's at the head office, they get some feedback. And they think I'm a good, consultant. Exquisite Japan. That's a super good idea, Trek. I have... I should sometimes, I think, because you know that the concept is Feed Jennifer on my channel, but if I change Jennifer Julien to Feed Jennifer, then my email address that I use for work, everything becomes Feed Jennifer. And oh my God, I think that my customers will think I'm crazy if they get, all of a sudden a Feed Jennifer email name on my email address, right? So that's the two, the wine ambassador and food producer, I think, are the two most, let's say, obvious jobs, with also the work for Japanese TV. That's the three, okay, let's say three easiest to understand. And that puts me really, let's say, in front of the scene. I don't know how to say that in English. Ça me met sur le devant de la scène, on va dire, voilà. I do less TV, much less TV than 10 years ago right now, because I'm putting the priority on the food and wine business. Because it's really super nice doing the TV jobs, but at some point I realized that I had to put the priority on these, let's say, normal jobs, because I didn't want to rely on the TV jobs, because I believe that TV, it's like YouTube. One day you can be a superstar and the following day everybody forgets about you. And in Japanese TV, it's really, I've seen so many people, not only foreigners, but like even Japanese people, you see them every day on TV for a year, for 2-3 years, and then they completely disappear. So this is why I never wanted, to stop doing what I was doing, to focus 100% on TV jobs. It just scared me. It's like when I started doing YouTube, I never had the intention of stopping doing what I did to do only YouTube, because it scared me. And I think, to become a big star, it requires just a lot of work, which I can't afford. I don't have the time to do. I didn't have the time, nor the energy, nor the desire to give it a shot, to give it a try on YouTube, to become, try and become a super YouTuber, because it was too scary for me. Because I think that even if you become a big YouTuber, there's always the risk that, so at some point people forget you and you lose everything. So, and I'm happy with what I'm doing. I was happy at the time, and I'm still happy, so. But I'm also happy that the channel, seeing that I'm doing this as a hobby, it's growing slowly but surely. So thank you very much. 6,000 followers. Thank you very much. I kept on doing it because thanks to you. Because if I hadn't had, if I hadn't seen the channel growing slowly, And if I hadn't had, you know, the like even just one positive comment and telling me that, you know, someone telling me that he or she had appreciated what I had uploaded or the live stream I had done, and also this always super nice interaction during the live streams, right? I would have stopped, because the purpose is not just, you know, just it's not my diary, right? When I do the live streams, it's maybe in 20 years I'll be like, okay, what was I doing 20 years ago? And it will be to me like a diary. I will be able to watch again those videos and seeing Japan, how it was at the time. But also, you know, it's if it were just that, I could do those live streams privately. You know what I mean? I mean, guys, if you want to have images of what you're doing, you don't have to make it public, right? And also, if I wouldn't have you, if I hadn't got you, if I didn't have you guys, sometimes I don't feel like live streaming, you know, because it's just, you know, I'm Kibuya. I don't feel like doing things, huh? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I guess you don't feel like doing some things. I'm like that too. But I do the live streams, you know, that I promised that this year I would be regular about at least doing one thing every week. And I'm like, it's okay. You can, you know, when you have your people with you, that you'll feel like talking again and live streaming again. I think, yeah, it's not that I don't feel like live streaming, it's that I'm like, what are you going to talk about? But it turns out that when I start, thanks to you, it's okay, we always find good subjects to talk about, right? Salut! Attends, I'm trying to see. I have some French comments, nice. Je vais très bien, merci Kai. Voilà. Also, you know, it's hard when I have to, because now, you know, I'm trying, I still do, you know, the unplanned live streams, but when I have to give you an hour, you know, it's like, you know, I'm making an appointment, taking an appointment. That requires energy from me. It's like, it becomes job-like to me when I have to do that. I have to confess. So this is why, you know, I like the unplanned live streams a lot, because if I have to plan the live stream ahead and then I think, oh my god, I promised them I would live stream and I don't feel like live streaming anymore, or something comes up. And like yesterday, you know, I was like, oh shoot, you know, I was planning to live stream and then, you know, I feel like I'm letting you down and it makes me feel bad. So this is why, you know, this YouTube thing, I have to take it, not to take it, you know, as a job, because then, but I've told you that many times, it wouldn't be so much fun for either of us, I think. Voilà. Alors, attends, mais ça y est, je me suis éparpillée encore. So, yes, the third, let's say, activity that's easy to understand is the TV jobs. I'm super happy now with that, you know, the TV Asahi program that I'm doing, because on NHK usually they call me as a reporter. Good news, guys, journalists in Japan contacted me again a few days ago for another shooting this autumn. Super happy. I was super happy about that. It's a producer who suggested me, so that was a super good news. Because, you know, sometimes they call you once but not twice. So voilà, je suis très contente. They call me, you know, usually as a reporter. On TV Asahi, it's they call me as commentator, and we started because, you know, it was food related stuff, but the more programs I've done with them, the more they've seen that I can talk about obviously other subjects than food and wine, you know, and sake. It's a very interesting program because there is, you know, an exchange with, you know, the people who are there, who are really super, the presentators. Bakusho Monday, oh my god, these guys are so smart. They are comics on Japanese TV, and I see them, you know, off record, and they're such good people and really so smart. And when I do the program, oh my god, I'm laughing all the time because they are so funny, you know. So I'm super happy to do the TV Asahi program. It's not all the time, which is a good thing, because sometimes, you know, my schedule don't allow me to take part in the shootings, but when I can do it, I always do it because it's really very interesting. And I always also learn things, you know, when I participate to this program, so it's a good thing. Voilà. And then, you know, there are all the other jobs which are not regular, but that I do. It's like, you know, narration. So the thing is that now I'm trying to put information about those jobs, because before I wasn't putting information about the fact that I also do narration. So usually it's in French, but sometimes they would ask me to do at some point, once I did a narration, it was, they were looking for someone speaking English with the French accent that I have, obviously, you know, so I was like perfect for this job. So there is narration, then there is also interpreting sometimes, because when I started working on my own, I talk a lot, I need to drink. And it's becoming so hot, guys. I went to see the French embassy, and I told them, okay, I'm working on my own now, so you know my level in Japanese. I can do translation when you do the wine tastings, so please call me when you need translators. And they made me work right away. And you know, even when I'm super busy, if they call me, they don't, sometimes, you know, they refrain themselves, I think, from calling me, because they think I'm such a super big star, you know, which I'm not, guys, seriously. And I tell that, you know, last time I saw them, I told them, hey guys, you know, I'm not a star, so, you know, I do a regular job too, so you don't hesitate to call me when you need me, because of course sometimes I'm super busy and I can't do the translation jobs, but if I'm free, I will happily do it, because, you know, I will never forget that you were the first ones to hire me when I started working on my own. And I mean, the first year it was hard, you know, so I was really happy when they would call me to do those translation jobs. You know how it is when you start working on your own, you never know when the jobs will come in. And some month you're close to zero, with zero income, and then this following month you have so many jobs that, you know, it helps you. It's good when you start, you know, the good month helps you cover the bad month. But to reach that situation, to feel less stressed, let's say, about my income, seriously, guys, I can say it's pretty recent, because ちょっと待って、attends, 22 years in Japan でしょ? 5 years working, 3 years prefectural prefectural government, 2 years Mitsubishi. Then 3 years wine business. 2 years French company, 1 year Japanese company. Ne? Attends, 5 et 3, 8. So, attends, 8, attends. It's so bad, guys, with figures. So I've been working on my own for 14 years, right? Yeah, right. Eating potatoes versus eating foie gras. That you are so right. Drinking champagne versus drinking water. And, you know, in French we use that expression a lot, like, je vais manger des patates pendant un mois. I'm going to eat potatoes for a month, you know, when you have a big expense or, you know. Or like, you know, when we went to l'Atelier de Robuchon with my sister, I told her, and then I'm going to have to eat potatoes for a month, you know, when you go back to France, because that was, you know, when you have big expenses, we like to use that expression. But the first year was really hard. Like for the first time in my life, sometimes I wouldn't have 10 bucks in my purse, which was, you know, 大変だったよ。聞いてくれさん、こんにちは。I came to Japan in 97. 平成8だったんですかね、97年って。Voilà. Hein? So 14 years. I think I've stopped worrying about and not having bad month anymore. I'd say these last 3-4 years. So see, it took me 10 years to really stabilize maybe my situation more. I don't have, you know, bad months anymore, and I don't have months without barely nothing. And these last 2-3 years, you know, before I could say, okay, oh yeah, usually, you know, like May, August, and maybe December were quiet months for me. Not anymore. December, maybe second part of December and January. Not anymore. I'm busy all year long right now. When I say when I say I'm not that busy, but still I'm working. You know, last year when I was in Nagano, I stayed there. I ended up staying there for a month, and I got a job from the embassy. And the person who hired me, she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry to have spoiled your holiday in Nagano." And I said, because people, they saw me there, they thought I was on holidays. I'm never really on holidays. 100% I can never be, guys. Because I have work to follow that I can follow from the computer by email. And that's what I was doing. So I wasn't really off. Of course, the first week I could, you know, like I followed from far away. Let's say I was kind of off in my head. But at some point during the day, I always have to check out my emails, because you never know, there might be an emergency in the wine, you know, with the orders that I get. What is the emergencies that I can get is with the wine business, which is a big part of you know, what I do. So I have to follow that, and it's my, you know, my customers can be pretty stressful sometimes, and you never know when they will need any information, and I can't make them wait. That's something, you know, I've learned working with Japanese people. You have to even think before what they might need before they even ask it to you. That's how it works in Japan, you know. So even when I'm in France, when I can really, I feel kind of off, even if I follow the emails, but I really keep work at a minimum, it's when I'm in France and my sisters. But when I was in Nagano the first few days, I felt like really like, oh my God, you know, and it was a good timing because in August and before Obon and during Obon, my Japanese customers are off, so I could be off for a few days. That was good, but when you work on your own like me and when you're a consultant, you don't have weekends and you don't have bank holidays. But on the contrary, sometimes when everybody is working, I take half a day, I take a day, or I take 2 days, you know, off, you know. And I like, you know, the other day when I went to Midtown to have to try the truffle restaurant, to me those few hours I spent in Midtown, to me it was being off, you know. I had like half a day. To me it was okay, I need to, you know, blow the steam out, they say that. And to me it's eating good stuff helps me doing that, right? My friends work, you know, usually. Some of my friends are, you know, ladies who don't work, but it wasn't planned, a last minute decision, so I couldn't get someone to go and have lunch with me. Blow off steam, eh? Blow off steam. I should write this now. This is why, you know, I like to be free of my schedule, and this is why I haven't, like at some point I was thinking I could maybe open a language school, language and like a kind of cultural place, you know, where Japanese people and even other people who would want to learn French, they would be able to do that, but also wine stuff, French cooking, you know, and doing activities around that. But I never did it because I didn't want to put chains around my neck. I think that if I'd opened a school, it's like, you know, the gourmet tours thing. If I'd start doing this, I would have to be super regular about it. I would also have, obviously when you do that, you need, you know, to rent a place. That will be expensive because it has to be central Tokyo. You don't want to do a school, you know, have an office outside of Tokyo, but could not, it's a home where I used to live that now I use as an office because I have so much stuff, you know, so wine samples, lots of stuff, and you know, sometimes some people, I rent it to some people, etc., etc. But I couldn't do things there because it's not central Tokyo. If you want to open a school and do wine related things, etc., etc., it has to be in a good area and in usually a popular area and close to the station, so the rent is super expensive. So that would be an investment, and you want, obviously you have to do lots of lessons and lots of things to pay for the rent, right? I mean, there wouldn't be any point in doing it if it wouldn't cover the cost and even, you know, create an income. So this is why I'm not doing it, even if people still ask me why I'm not doing this kind of things. It's because I don't see myself like opening a restaurant. And when my sister came, so many people want me to open a crêperie because, you know, my sister, she makes crepes in France. I'm not doing it because I don't want to be stuck in one place and have the stress of, you know, running such a place. So this is why I'm not doing it. You know, I like to have those, to be free of my schedule. Voila, voila. So this is why I'm not so good at planning, you know, the live streams. Voila, voila. Do I have, hold on a second, other activities? So there is also the gourmet tours that I don't promote that much because I do the gourmet tours in Japan too. I like doing it, but obviously I can't do it with people I don't know. I guess you can understand why. So I don't do it very often. I do it with people that I've come to know, of course. But I like doing it because it's like really sharing something and showing all of my favorite places. It's easier for me to do it in France because I take people who work that I know, and Japanese people, right? It's people that I know usually, and it's word of mouth. This is how, you know, I have regular requests. But it's people that I meet and I know. This is why it's easier to do that. That's something I could develop too, and I will at some point, because I'm not sure, you know, obviously, well, not obviously, but to me, it's obvious that I feel a little bit stuck right now also because, you know, I would be traveling more if I didn't have the babies. It's okay to be stuck because they are just so freaking cute, you know. But if I didn't have my babies, I would be traveling much more in Japan, in Asia, but also back to France too. And then when I go back to France, maybe I would stay longer than I do. I try not to be away more than 2 weeks because I don't have my babies to let them be with a pet sitter or, you know, with my friends, you know. But, you know, maybe, I don't know, in 10, 20 years, that's something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. That's an idea I've had in the first few years. It's doing things, especially during the summer, because first, every summer I'm thinking, why am I not back in France? Even if now they have la canicule. They have, like my father, yesterday he told me he saw the temperature rising to 50 degrees Celsius, which is really crazy. But they don't have the humidity in France, right? And that's really not normal. It's unusual to have such temperatures. But at some point, I think I will want to spend more time in France. Is it hard to travel around Japan with pets? It's becoming easier. There are more and more places, even onsen places, where you can go to with your pets. So I will spend more time when I get older. I still have a lot of energy, so daijoubu. But I will spend more time in France, I think, when I get older. Because I love France too. I love Japan. It's really crazy to think that I was coming here for a year and it's been 22 years. In that sense, I think this is wow. I'm like amazed myself. But I stayed because I liked my life here, and you know, I've explained before, I think that, you know, I found peace being here and I felt good being here, and I'm still here because I still like my life here. I am not saying that I will spend all of my life here. That is something I don't know. I cannot say because I don't have the answer. But what I know is that I'd like to start and spending a little bit more time in France, which I'm not doing because of the babies, and it's okay because I don't miss. I'm going home enough, you know, right now to not miss it that much. But I miss France during the summer, I think, because Japan is just it's just hell. It's just so hot. And I miss, you know, like I miss the barbecues, and I miss the carelessness that we have and we can really enjoy in summer in France. So I think that when I won't have the babies anymore, you will see Jennifer spending her summers in France. Because first I want to get away from Japan, and lots of people, they do this because Japan is just hellish. The weather is, even Japanese people, they want to go out, they go away from Japan, right? But what I will do is that I think I will do some kind of summer camps, you know, also because I don't know if I'll be able to spend the whole summer in France. I say that, but maybe I will be like missing Japan and my life here so much because my life is here, right? But the idea is at some point, you know, having those summer camps with, you know, that will enable Japanese people, but it can be you guys too, you know, doing homestays in a really typical French house. I mean, it's a dream of mine, but that's what I'm making this public, but I will do this someday. In a really, you know, a typical Japanese, French house, you know, those... une maison en pierre française. Quelqu'un, Pierre is not here, he can't help me. You know, the, how do you call that? Stone, the stone, you know, the old houses that you can see in the French countryside. Of course, it will be in Bordeaux countryside, with lots of countryside around. And there will be the French lessons, homestays, lots of different formulas. 3 days, just the French lessons, 3 days, a week, and with lots of different formulas like the French lessons. The full course would include French lessons, French family cooking, visit of the wineries, and then, you know, for the lessons it can be, because I think that sommeliers too would be interested in doing this kind of stays in France. So, you know, I could accommodate, let's say, everybody's needs. Hi, Steve. But that's something I will do someday, and it will enable me, I think, to spend also more time in France, because I would be also working there, and I would be able, you know, to welcome my customers, my wine customers and food customers in Japan, because I know that so many of them would come and visit me, right? And I would also be able to go around my, you know, the wineries that I represent here. So I mean, it would be, the circle would be complete, I think, or it would fit in the circle in what I'm doing. And of course there will be the live streams and the videos and everything, right? And who knows, maybe guys, you will come and visit me and stay at that. I'm thinking, if I find, now I have to find the place with rooms, you know, where I could accommodate people, but that's something I think I will do. Then I don't know if one day I will go back for good to France. If I do so, this is the place I will use to create a pet shelter, because that's a dream that I've had since I was a kid, and that I forgot at some point. The first years, for 15 years, I forgot what my dream was, and Fukushima helped me remind this, and an encounter I made thanks to Fukushima. This is deep talk, guys, huh? This is not a Q&A at all. This is me telling you about my life, but you know how it goes. Always, never goes the way it was supposed to go, those live streams, right? This person is Italian, and he's an Italian who lives in Japan. And when I met this person, it was 3 months after Fukushima. I was interpreting at dinner, wine dinner. And we had affinities right away, and we talked, etc., etc. And he told me, we forget when we become adults what we really want to be in life. We know that when we are children, and then we become adults, and the daily life, the daily things, the small things that spoil our daily life and clouds our mind, it makes us forget what we really wanted to do and be in life. And oh my God, guys, those words were really a revelation. Attends, révélation, une révélation, c'est a revelation to me. It just simply opened my eyes. And on the way back home, I thought, yeah, when I was a kid, what did I want to do with my life, you know? And I remembered that apart from, you know, having a good job, have a decent income, eat good food and drink good wine. Good wine I didn't know at the time. I remember that my dream was to open a pet shelter and rescue animals. And that's something I will do. If I do the bed and breakfast thing, Thomas, yes. What I want to have this place, you know, first to do, you know, the summer camps, is I really want to have nothing around, just the countryside. So I will need hectares and hectares, because I'm not living in town. You know, the day I will have my own place in France, it will be in the countryside. Not I want to be, you know, surrounded by buildings. That's not something I want. And the thing is that if I end up going back to France, if I have all those hectares, I will be able to open a pet shelter. And if I have the accommodation, I can have people come and help me, you know, because in the end, you know, the day I'm not here, the day I'm gone, I will have to have people surrounding me and help me take care of the animals and take over. You know what I mean? It's all planned. Voilà. Happyoshimashita. That's the... I mean, if I live long enough if this is how things go, if one day I go back to France, you know, when I get really older, when I'm a granny, I think, because I don't think when I'm a granny, I don't think I will, not sure, but something tells me that maybe I want to die in my country. Not sure, but part of me tells me that. So, you know, if I have started doing things in France already and have this place, it will be all there waiting for me, right? So voilà, I don't know why I ended up telling you about this, probably because it's summer and, you know, voilà, it had to be a special live stream, right? Because it's 22 years. Alors maybe some chicken running, of course, there will be some chicken and ducks on the property, I think. Voilà. Alors back to my activity these days, because then, you know, there are all those small requests that come, you know, can you help us? You know, sometimes I do the MC too, because I have, when you do the MC, there are foreigners and you're able to translate, that's not so many of us can do that, especially in French. And then there is all the daily things, you know, you have to follow everything, right? You know, the back office also. When I'm home, people think, you know, I'm just doing nothing, but I'm never doing nothing. And when I'm not doing nothing, work related things, I have the babies, I have home, and I have life too. You know how it is, right? Sometimes when I'm just so busy and out all the time, I get back home, and I'm like, oh my god, this place is just such a mess, and which is not good, but you have to prioritize in those cases, right? But voila. That's I'm really happy that with what I'm doing, and that I feel very lucky to now that I can organize my schedule to work in those different fields, and also but still have the time to enjoy myself. Which is pretty much most of the time, because then when I'm asked to go to wine dinners and do those things, it's part of the job, but it's not my job. Is my life, and what I love doing. Eating and drinking is really it. That's something. If I wouldn't be working in this business, that's the only thing I'm doing outside of work, right? So, are you in any future NHK program that we can look forward to, Padasya? I will be, I think it's in October. In mid-October, I'm going to do another journeys in Japan. So, I don't know when this will be broadcast, probably by the end of the year, I think. For now, that's all. Sometimes, I'm thinking that I should try, and sell myself more to TV, but the thing is that I'm just so busy, there are so many things, so I'm taking things a little at a time. I'm getting better at doing this, I just have a list, and I'm just thinking, okay, it's like with the live streams and the videos, I'm not stressing myself that much anymore, because I have images in store, and I don't have the time to edit it. I will edit it when I have the time to. If I want to make it nice, I have to do it when I'm in the mood to do it, and I see things, because if not, it's just super crappy, right? I realized that there are only 24 hours in a day, and I have to stop stressing myself out, because I just can't do it all. I can never, and I will never be able, even if I wouldn't be sleeping, I would always have things to do, and I could always do more, but at some point you have to stop, putting pressure on yourself because you think you're not doing enough. Maybe I think I'm starting to realize that maybe I am doing enough, and plenty enough, and I still find the time to do this, which is supposed to be a hobby. And I'm actually, working on getting new customers a little at a time, and it started. I'm not, implementing things. I mean, I'm signing new contracts these days, so I have to stop, just putting too much information in my brain and thinking, oh my god, thinking about what I haven't done. I'm starting to focus also on what I have done, what has to be done, but putting priorities, prioritizing is really important. And then when it's done, when I'm like check, oh my god, good, because I would this is something I wasn't doing before, and then it's just like having the feeling you're never doing anything when you're actually doing a lot, right? But that's not, you don't have that sense of fulfillment, which is necessary, I think, to go forward, right? Alors, hopefully we'll be in the mood to eat. Okay. Oh yes, oh my god, Thomas, have you seen that strawberry cake that I had the other day. Guys, on Instagram, I put the video and I wrote my jaws literally dropped right now. I was like, I was like, sugoi, you know. It was so big, and I'm not sure it shows in the video, but so big, so fluffy, and lots of cream, and oh my god, it was so delicious. And now I want to try the melon one, so not sure I can when I will go to Ralph Lauren's, but it's in my mind. I will go. But I'm trying to see if I can go to Nagano again next month, not as long as last year. I'm thinking, not sure, maybe it will not be the same place, but I have to take a break from Tokyo, I think. So I will see where I can go. How do I stay so fit? I know. Alors yes, I walk a lot, as JK reminded me the other day. I walk at least 10 kilometers every day. My average is in between 10 and 15, but also I exercise. I actually had put on weight last winter. It's getting better because I'm taking things slowly, but I have a bad knee and bad back. But so it was, I couldn't really exercise much. That's the key, guys. If you exercise, you stay fit. There is no secret, I think. Unless, you know, some people sometimes they are sick, and even if they don't eat that much, it's just a medicine or whatever, and kawaiso, you know, what can you do? But if you have, let's say, I think normal metabolism, I think that exercise is the key. Before I wasn't eating also as much sweets as I do now. Sweets, then it maybe depends on the bodies, but I mean, when I eat a lot of sweets, I mean, you get fat around the tummy and big ass, guys, but anyways, so like recently I'm doing this every day, and the result is starting to show. But it's like maintenance what I'm doing these days, but at least every day, at least 20 minutes to half an hour, stretch and squats and abs, you know. I'd say 5 days a week. Sometimes if I do it too much, I get tired and I'm like, okay, today is off, but you have to. Because when you're 20, you don't need to exercise that much, maybe, but then it gets harder and harder to stay fit, I think. And also off camera, as I said many times, lots of fruits and vegetables. I also do what we call in French mono diet. Mono diets, it's that you eat the same fruit morning, lunch, even tea time and evening. And you drink only water or hot green tea. But you have to eat the same fruit. Like if it's apple, just apples, guys. And don't mix the ingredients. I used to do that a lot. I don't do it that much anymore. But it helps. Really, you know, because your body rests, and I think that health, it's really located, it's your digestive system. That's where your health is, I think. So this is why my health, I want to have a healthy life as much as possible, as long as possible. So this is why it might look as I'm always eating and drinking in excess. I am not. I'm trying not to. Um, Sometimes, of course, I'm a little bit excessive because I love to drink and eat. But then, you know, I compensate. And like if I have a super big lunch, when I have the brunches with free flow champagne, I don't eat in the evening. If I feel hungry, and I don't drink, obviously. And if I feel hungry, I will eat a salad, you know. So there is a lot of, you know, like super healthy foods that when it's, and when I say it's salad, sometimes it's a nice salad. Yesterday I bought salads, you know, at the department store, so there were lots of ingredients and it was really a nice one. But if I'm home and it's just salad, like green salad, there is nothing in there, it's just the green, you know, or I will have just an apple or a fruit, and so it can be really sparse, do you say sparse? Sparse meals. That's how I'm trying to keep a good balance, voilà. Because, you know, the older you get anyways, the more tired you get, so you have to take care of yourself. And, you know, I wouldn't want to have I have many of my friends in the wine business who have so many health problems, and I don't want to get sick, you know. Alors, when I was a kid, did I want to live in Japan? Alors, Desert Fox, that's super good question, seeing that we are doing the 22 years Life in Japan live stream. Absolutely not. I came to Japan. To me, it was kind of an obligation to come here because why did I come here? I wasn't attracted by this country. It was a strategical choice because I wanted to work with foreign languages. Yeah, Jason, I know how to write sparse, but I don't know if it's sparse or sparse. The pronunciation, I think it's sparse, no? Anyways, thank you, Yuhu. Woohoo. So I choose Japanese after studying English and Spanish. I stopped studying Spanish and I choose Japanese because at the time the economical relationships in between Japan and France were like big, and they were close, almost no translators in Japanese. And it was like, oh my God, they were they were like they would have such a good salary, right? So I thought, oh my God, that's what I should do, because then I'll be able to make the difference with other people. There are so many people learning English, Spanish, Italian and German, right? So to make the difference with the others, I chose Japanese. And so I studied at the university, and then I realized that if I wouldn't go to the country, I wouldn't be able to speak the language. So I thought, oh my God, mendokusai, mendokusai. Like, it's a pain. I don't want to go and live a year in that country. But I have to, because if I don't do so, I will never be able to master the language. And I heard about a program that is called the JET program, J-E-T. And that program, because I didn't want to go as a student and live, you know, I can be a little bit prissy sometimes, but I didn't want, you know, to live in, I've never had this experience of living, you know, in university, not a dormitory, but, you know, those places when you have a kitchen in common, and I feel really prissy talking like this, but and you don't have your own bathroom, you have to share, right? And then you have just your bedroom, and then, you know, oh my God, so noisy, and no, 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 no. This was never something I wanted to do. And I could stay at my parents' because when I went to the university, they just created, guys, I've always been so lucky in my life, but this is when they created the Japanese section at Bordeaux University. So I could stay at my parents', which I was super happy about, you know. I think in the 3 languages, it depends on the subject, on what I'm thinking about. Even when I'm talking to the babies in my head, depending on the situation, I talk to them in French or in Japanese. I don't talk in English to the babies. But if I'd be talking to you, I would be thinking in English. When I'm thinking about Patreon, for example, I'm thinking in English. Or about the updates, or when I think about the updates on Instagram, for example, I think in English. Huh? So I did this program, you know, the tests, and of course, you know, it was okay, so I could come to Japan. It was for 1 year as a coordinator for international relationships. And I came here, and what was crazy, thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to live for 1 year away from home in that country, you know, which sounded like as good as any other country. And like, I was attracted, of course, by the culture, the history, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I would die to go to Japan. I am such a big fan, and you know, I thought I would travel there, of course, someday, but I was more thinking of living in England and working in England, you know. So I came here, and the funny thing is that within 3 days, I knew that I would stay for more than a year in this country. That was something, bam, happened. Hi, Lemon. You would eat whipped cream, cream pancake sandwiches. I've never had any of those, Steve. That's something I should do, a tasting of this, right? So it was destiny, I think, that I came here. And I think just, you know, within 3 days of going to Wakayama, the first 3 days we had an orientation in Tokyo. And in Tokyo, I didn't think, oh my God, this country is just so amazing. I thought it was like crazy, like, oh, so noisy. Because everywhere we would go, especially in Akihabara, you know, it was just, they're making so many announcements. It's just really crazy, right? But then when I arrived in Wakayama, I thought, oh my God, this is just so peaceful, and I like it here. This country can be my home, you know. And I think also it's because, you know, I liked the people too. And since then, you know, I have now a few foreigner friends, but for a very long time I had only Japanese friends. So, you know, it's I wanted, you know, to be integrated, I think, in the country and in the culture. How many languages can I speak or understand? I can speak 3. English, well, I'm trying. Japanese, French, of course. I don't speak Spanish, but I can understand Spanish a lot because I studied it for a few years. I understand a little bit of Italian too. Voilà. Alors guys, I completely forgot. I have to let you, we definitely have to do round 2 of this very quickly, maybe tomorrow. But I have to leave you because I've been doing this for an hour, and I have someone coming in 10 minutes, actually, a pet sitter for the babies. So and I have to do a few things before she arrives, so please forgive me. If you could prepare some questions, I'll be happy. We can do this tomorrow or on Saturday at the latest. Promise this year I am doing this, but I have to leave you now. Because voilà, it took more time than I thought. Voilà, merci beaucoup. I talked a lot and you listened. Thank you very much. For the question, the Q&A, I'm going to create another link. We can do a real Q&A very soon. Thank you so much. White, thank you for the tip-in. Champagne tonight. Merci beaucoup, guys. Thanks for being so assiduous and listening, because I could tell you about my life. Merci beaucoup. Et I will see you tomorrow or on Saturday. Mwah. Bisous. Bon, they are sleeping, so see you soon. Thank you, guys. À bientôt. Bye bye.